All right, man. The NFL.
Man,
The NFL. We're starting to see more and more players get suspended for gambling in the NFL. Do you think the NFL has a gambling problem, Sticks?
I don't think the organization itself has a gambling problem. I think the players within the organization have the problem, and it starts. Well, if that's the case, since the players are in the organization, then the organization has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts at the core because there's been starting the first one that I heard about that was real big news was Calvin Ridley, of course. But there's
Mm-hmm.
been in this past month, there's been six other guys that have been suspended
Last couple of months,
for
yep, for sure.
yeah, they have been suspended from the NFL for you know exorbitant amount of time for gambling on their own teams, on their own the teams
Mm-hmm.
that they play for. And it's like, bro, like now, me personally, I'm not a gambling man myself. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
don't gamble. I don't go to I'm out here in Washington where there is a casino literally at almost every exit on the highway. And you can
Okay.
find a casino everywhere, bro. They're everywhere. And I've stepped foot in one casino and I didn't even gamble. And when I go to Vegas, I've been to Vegas 4 or 5 times in my life. I don't gamble. I just go out for the sights. So
Yep.
I don't understand, but I no, let me rephrase that. I do understand the addiction to that rush whenever you gamble and you win. I do
Mm-hmm.
understand that. But to gamble on something that's so close to me, like my craft and my organization and the team that I play for, and I'm gambling on the team that I'm associated with, that I can't get with. Like I can't understand why they would do that whenever they know that
Yep.
they have. It's such a it you have too much to do with it. Like you have too much. You have such a strong pull on the outcome of that game that you're playing in for this team that you would ever bet on your own team. So I can't understand it. What you think, D'Lo?
So I feel how you feel that it's not an issue. It's not a problem for the NFL. However, in my opinion, I do think it needs to be addressed and addressed how it has been addressed. And the reason I feel like it needs to be addressed is because if it becomes widespread, then the integrity of football will then come into question. And I should say the integrity of the games of football will come into question
Mm-hmm.
because now you can't really say that the essence of sports is being played. You're saying money is determining the outcome of the game
One
rather
hundred
than
percent.
purely somebody's athletic or a group of individuals' athletic ability being determining the outcome of a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you, and if that happens, then the whole league will be tarnished. The NFL will now be, no pun intended, and it will be the XFL essentially. And what I
Mm-hmm.
mean by that is it won't be the NFL that we know, the almighty powerful shield, which is the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give you an example of one small player, or maybe I can give you a couple of them. One small player tarnishing a small period of time. Tim
Mm-hmm.
Donaghy, who was
Okay,
refereeing
got you.
in NBA, and he currently has a special or documentary on Netflix talking about that time where he had his gambling issues. Well, once this was reported that he was involved in the gambling scandals within NBA and the games that he was calling, all of those games in that time have come into question. And people, I mean, we already don't trust referees in the first place. We always already question the calls that they make, why they made the calls, and so on and so forth. If they're really, being true and showing good faith to the game, we already call that in question. But after this happens, people really don't trust NBA refs and think that they have a play on top of what have we been talking about the last couple of weeks, on top of the script that comes to play with
And the
sports as well.
conspiracy theories that everybody has and stuff. Yep.
Right. So I mean, you bring these into question now, and if it becomes widespread, then nobody's going to watch NFL no more because they're not going to trust. It will truly become the WWE, and the only reason people watch the WWE because you might not know the outcome of what's going to happen, but it is like some type of entertainment.
Entertainment.
But I don't that type of entertainment won't be able to, because it's too many moving pieces in
Hmm.
football and other sports.
Yeah,
Whereas wrestling is either 101, 202, or you might have
you got that
a
Royal
lot
Rumble or whatever. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A
rumble,
lot
but
going on.
it's
Hmm.
individually more than likely it's at an individual level.
Hmm.
But nobody's gonna watch that if they feel like somebody is blatantly throwing a game, because nobody's gonna watch that.
That's very true, and I'm glad you made that parallel to wrestling because everybody knows that it's scripted. Everybody knows it's
Right.
scripted. As far as like basketball, like in NBA and NFL, there's a perceived script, and people have said that there's a conspiracy that there is a script to how the season is supposed to end or how a game is supposed to conclude and stuff like that. There's people say that there is one, but you don't know for sure, or you can't say that there is one for sure because, like you said, there's too many moving parts. That there people know that it's scripted, but for us to add the conspiracy of the script along with players actually gambling on their teams, that just like D'Lo said, it's going to be a lot harder for the general public to watch it, knowing that there might be a script and these players are betting on their teams where they have a say on the outcome of this game. So there's no the integrity of the game is lost. The integrity of the game
Yep.
is lost. So you don't you have guys out here who are going against their character to make money. And these
Yep.
these are guys like Calvin Ridley himself who had pretty good contracts. He's not hurting for money. So why are you gambling on these teams? Or why are you gambling on the
Yeah.
Falcons whenever you don't need the bread? Like what's good with you? Like why do you I don't know. Maybe it's because I didn't get the kind of money that Calvin Ridley was getting. So I
Right.
haven't seen that type of, and I don't have that problem either. I don't have that addiction as far as like, I don't think I have too much of it. Well, I do, but we're not gonna talk about that.
We all
But
have vices. We all
we
have
all
our
have
own
our
vices,
vices.
right?
We all have our
Yeah.
vices, but I don't have a gambling addiction. So I can't sit here and say that if I had that type of money that I didn't know what to do with, that I wouldn't try to figure out what to do with it. But I think
Right.
I would invest. I think I would give back to my community. I think I would do a lot of different things than gamble it, especially
Right.
gambling on my own team. Now, sports betting is legal in what, 29 states now? 30 states, 29
It's
states?
actually 33.
33
It's
states. There
actually
you go.
33. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad you are headed in the direction that I was going to head. Before I
Hmm.
say that, it's not always about the money. Because
Right.
I know that anytime we discuss downfalls of individuals in the sports and entertainment genre, we always go back to the money. It's not always about the money, but the money plays a big part in some of the decisions that should be made when it comes to the decisions that have been made. But yeah, sports gambling is, back to the sports gambling. Sports gambling has been legalized in 33 states, and I believe two or three are going to legalize it this year. So, as we
North
know, the
Carolina being
sports
one of them,
gambling,
right?
I believe North Carolina is it's on the ballot to
Hmm.
legalize sports gambling this year. Um, so we know that sports gambling is big business.
It is.
And the reason why I say that it needs to be addressed and how it is being addressed currently is because with all of these states legalizing sports gambling, with all of these different sports betting platforms becoming viable and bigger and bigger and bigger, I 100% believe that players will be approached to try to determine the
Yeah.
outcomes of games, because we know sports gambling, or individuals in sports gambling, was a big issue prior to it being handled and addressed how it was. The examples I'll give you
Hmm.
are the 1919 Chicago White Sox, known as the Black Sox scandal. These fools threw the World Series against the Cincinnati Cardinals for money, through
Hmm.
a whole World Series, because they were guaranteed to be paid a certain amount of money if they allowed the Cincinnati Reds to win the championship. Sticking with the Cincinnati Reds and baseball, Pete Rose
Pete
was
Rose.
banned from baseball for a lifetime because he was betting, as Stick said, on baseball, but also his
His
own
own
team.
team.
So And I truly believe that because of the way these situations were handled is why it didn't be even more widespread as it has been. And I'm not saying that it doesn't take place currently, because I'm sure to some degree in some small crevice or some small little percentage of the whatever leagues we're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that individuals take bribes to a small degree uh, on their teams, but it's not as big as it potentially could be. And contracts help that. The amount of money that these
Mm-hmm.
athletes are making help that as well. So it's not easy to bribe them. But you catch one of these individuals, one of these rookies on a contract that's, starting to
Unsigned
get
free,
more and more,
undrafted free agent.
right, starting to get more and more playing time, then you might have something. So, I mean,
For
I'm
sure.
glad that you always, you hate to see people lose opportunities. Some of the
Mm-hmm.
individuals that were suspended earlier this year for sports gambling, um, you hate to see them lose opportunities, because once it was passed down that they would be suspended for whatever time,
Mm-hmm.
the teams release them. So you hate to see them lose opportunities, but I'm glad that the NFL in particular is addressing this how they are, because now it's sending a message, a strong message, albeit that we're not going to tolerate this.
Exactly. And just to reiterate the point real quick about the sports betting, it's legal now, as D'Lo said, in 33 states. And you can sports bet. You can sports bet through some states allow you can do it through an app like
Right.
MGM Grand and those things like that. In the state of Washington, though, you can't do it online, but you have to go into a physical casino or somewhere that does sports betting to do your gambling
Mm-hmm.
on sports. Now, me, for instance, if I was playing for the Seahawks and I was interested in doing sports betting and I had an addiction to gambling or something like that, never would I ever think to bet on the Seahawks though. Like if I'm sitting in there and I'm watching the games, and you can bet on parlays, you can bet on what the score after the first quarter would be. You can bet on a lot of different things. There's a
Right.
lot of different sequences that you can bet on. I would not be sitting in there saying, okay, on Sunday, I'm gonna make sure that we playing the Browns. We definitely gonna win that game. So I'm gonna put my money on that for us to win. But then we going against the Chiefs. I think we might lose that one. So I think I'm gonna bet on us to lose. Am I gonna do that. Never am I
Yeah.
gonna do that. If I'm playing for the Seahawks, I'm not betting on us at all. Period. Now
Right.
I can bet on other games and bet on parlays and do that because it's legal. But at the same
Right.
time, like, why would I ever think to bet on my own team? I would never do that. That's just my thought process. But I mean, people have different addictions. People have different thought processes with what they do. You know how they handle their gambling. So you do you, boo boo. Do your thing.
Man said boo boo. Wow.
Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you miss none of the content. Also, you can find us on all your streaming platforms, wherever you find your podcasts.